Hi and welcome back to Danielle Keller Creates. Today I'm creating 10 appetizers that only have 3 ingredients or less that are perfect to whip up for that next gathering or function you have. Most of these are no cook, no heat, so they are perfect for the warmer months and those warmer events. The first appetizer I'm making is with fresh peaches, and it is so super simple. You cut your fresh peaches into cubes, and you also cut your cheese into cubes, or you can have them pre-cut. A lot of times they come in a bag already cut. For this, I'm using Gouda, which pairs so well with peaches, and then I'm going to add them to my skewers, and I'm going to sprinkle them with fresh thyme leaves, and you end up with a finished, delicious, easy appetizer. Now this next appetizer also uses peaches, but I'm using the peach slices. So I've sliced up some peaches and I am going to wrap them with a piece of bacon that I've cut in thirds. And then that is it. I'm going to cook them either in the air fryer, which is my preference, or you can also grill these. And the sweetness with the saltiness makes it the perfect combo. 2 ingredients, that's all you need. And they end up being a crowd favorite. I served both of these peach appetizers together at my party and they were a hit. Next up, I'm making one of the crowd favorites, meatballs. For my meatball sauce, I'm using half a jar of blueberry jam or jelly. You can use any brand, any variety, but I thought blueberry will be a nice variation. Usually you use grape jelly, but the blueberry is going to give it a new twist and it's going to be perfect for the summer. I'm adding a whole container of barbecue sauce. Any flavor barbecue sauce or brand will do. Then I'll add my frozen meatballs, set the slow cooker to low, and just let it warm throughout and have it perfect for the party. Even in the warmer months, people love meatballs. And I took these to a garden party recently and they were a hit. People kept telling me over and over how much they loved them. I think this will be a favorite at your party as well. Next up, I'm making a Patriotic 3-ingredient appetizer. This is so great to bring to parties, picnics, barbecues, and it's going to have that American flag touch. So we're starting with cut strawberries that are fresh and washed, and I cut those in pieces, and now I have cube cheese. You can use any white cheese here. This I'm using is Monterey Jack, but you can also use mozzarella, you can use Swiss, and I just put a line of that, so a stripe. I use whole strawberries next because I think it gives it a nice variation and texture, and so another stripe of the cheese and then more of the strawberries. Now I'm creating the backdrop for my stars. I'm adding some fresh blueberries that I've washed and drained, patting dry, and now I'm going to cut out my stars. Using some of the cheese, I am cutting out using one of my scrapbooking stamps. It was thick enough so I could take a sharp knife and just cut around the star edges, and it made the perfect little stars. I cut out about 5 of these and then I just place them all around the blueberries until they were in the right place, and I think this is the perfect thing to add to your 4th of July events. The 5th appetizer with only 3 ingredients includes one of my favorite cheeses, Brie. I'm going to take a Brie wheel, but first I'm going to make the sauce that's going to go on top. Starting with this onion and garlic ancho chili crunch blend. This brand is from Kinder's, but any chili crunch blend in oil will do. Next, I'm adding sweet chili sauce. This brand is Frank's Red Hot. It's our favorite. Again, any brand works here, and I'm adding a half cup of each of the sauces. And then I'm going to mix that really well until it's well blended. And before I pour the sauce onto my cheese, I'm going to score my Brie. This means I'm just cutting lines across the top in both directions. This lets the oil and flavors seep more into the cheese and helps it also melt easier. I pour all of the sauce covering the top and the sides of my Brie, and I'm going to bake it in an oven at 350 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes, just enough for the cheese to get melty. You could also put this in a cast iron skillet on your grill or your campfire and serve it with any bread or cracker or a toasted baguette, which is my favorite. And this turns out to be such a creamy, sweet, with a kick of heat appetizer that makes it so perfect, and I think everyone is going to agree. This next appetizer I have made so many times for parties because it is always so easy, so impressive, and everybody loves it. And really it is just 3 simple ingredients. It is a mozzarella ball, a cherry tomato, and a piece of basil. I like to put the fresh basil slice in the middle between the tomato and the mozzarella. It adds that perfect color. And also, I sometimes have to buy the mozzarella balls as the snacking ones, and they're a little bigger, so I just cut those in half. But you can usually find the mozzarella pearls, and they're perfect for this. Now, here's where it can be different each time. I've made these for parties and put them on just a nice skewer, but you can also change up the skewer, and that is going to make it perfect for the theme of your party. I've done it with little graduation caps. That was for, of course, a graduation party. You can really mix it up. You can do stars for 4th of July or any other event where you can get the skewers with the little thing on top to help complement your theme. Now, here's where I have a question for you all, and I would love to hear your comments. What is the best way you think to display these? Do you think it's laid out like this, where I have the little caps pointing out, or do you like it in a stand like this, where it has them all upright? Let me know which way you prefer. Now, you can add as a 4th ingredient a drizzle of balsamic. That usually takes this over the top and makes it perfect. And that makes me question the display. Do you put them in the tray and drizzle on top, or do you display it like this and have a little side dish for people to drizzle the balsamic on themselves? Let me know what you think. For the party I brought them to, I decided to go with both. I thought it would add enough interest and have them 2 different ways. And don't forget that balsamic glaze takes it over the top for perfection. This next appetizer is so similar, but it's easier, and it is going to be a bruschetta dip. Similar ingredients, but we're going to mix it up with the base. Instead of mozzarella, we're actually going to use Alouette cheese. Garlic and herb is the preferred flavor for this, or if you can find garlic and herb cream cheese, but that garlic and herb is really going to make it have the right flavors. You're going to spread that on your tray, and then you're going to take your grape tomatoes, chop those up, and put those on top. Once you have those in a nice layer, you're going to add your fresh basil. I cut these in chiffonade ribbons and I sprinkle it all on top of the tomatoes. And this is it. You can serve it just as is. If you do want to add that 4th ingredient, a balsamic drizzle does take this over the top, and it does add that punch of tartness and sweetness that goes really well with this. Either way, everybody is going to love this. It is so easy, so vibrant, so fresh, and so delicious. Next up, a super simple 2-ingredient appetizer. I am starting with this chipotle and adobo sauce. I had this left over from a previous recipe, and I just had about a quarter of the can left. I'm going to dump this into a bowl, and I'm going to add to it some sour cream. It's going to help cool off the heat of that chipotle, and it's going to give it a nice creamy texture. You could also use Greek yogurt instead of the sour cream, and if you want to reduce the spice, you could take the chipotle and just take those out and just use the sauce. That'll help reduce that heat because it does have quite a kick. I add about a cup of sour cream to the about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of the chipotle and adobo sauce, and I just give that a really good stir. Once again, you can take out the chipotles for that heat, but it just ends up being rich and creamy and the perfect thing to go with some fresh vegetables. I serve it up with some celery and fresh cucumbers, and it is the perfect balance for that kick and that creaminess. It is the perfect easiest dip. I have another easy dip and spread that is so good. Starts with goat cheese. I have 2 packages of 4 ounces, and I'm going to spread it on my board here into a nice even layer. You could also use cream cheese, or another great option is Boursin cheese. That has the perfect texture and flavor to go with this, but sometimes it's harder to find and sometimes it's pretty pricey. So if you want to go with just a nice pungent cheese, goat cheese is perfect. You'll spread that out, and now you'll add your plum, or you could do a fig jam, or even a nice apricot, or any fruit flavored spread would work great. Then you're just going to top it with some crushed pistachios, and that's it. If you want to give it another ingredient and vibrancy, you could add some lemon zest and a little juice of the lemon, but these 3 ingredients is going to be perfect with the crunch, the tang, and the creaminess. Perfection, 3 ingredients. This next appetizer I love to make because it's easy and it's vibrant. It's also so good, the perfect crunch and flavor. And we're going to start with our mandolin. I use this to cut the perfect slices of my cucumber. They're the perfect thickness. I can adjust the thickness with this, and I just love it. I make it a little bit thicker, about 1/4 of an inch, because we want it to be substantial to hold all the ingredients. And those ingredients include guacamole, which I like to make my own, but for this, it's super easy to just get the chunky guacamole, get a good brand, and just add a dollop of that on the cucumber. And then your shrimp can be cooked already. I tend to buy the frozen and have to cook it myself, so I do have a couple more ingredients, just seasonings I have to do to cook it in a pan. But you can get the already cooked and just put a splash of lemon juice, salt and pepper, and put it on top of that guacamole, and you are set. 3 ingredients, super fresh and vibrant, and absolutely delicious. And that's your 10 3-ingredient appetizers, perfect for any party or occasion. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, give it a like and be sure to subscribe. I love making videos like this and have more in the future, so be sure to click the notification bell so you're notified when I do that. In the meantime, you can catch this video here of more appetizers. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.